So are we set to go?
I think so, John.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Deanie is not here today. We also have a short agenda, so fingers crossed. We'll see how we do. I had an email from Deb. She is expecting to be here, but she may have to leave early. And so do we know whose turn it is, Martha, to fill in at least for Deanie?
I think it's David's turn. That's my
I
memory.
think it's David's.
Okay. So
I think that's right here.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So David's authorized to vote this meeting. First issue is approval of the May 5th regular meeting minutes.
I second.
Carolyn moves, Russ seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Were you here at?
I was not, so I have to abstain. I did not vote.
Officially. Okay. I should have asked for abstention. So David abstains. Public comment. Any public comments? Hello, Bill.
Good morning.
Do you have any comment you would like to make? Or are you just listening?
I do have comments, but not at this time. I'm just kind of observing this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we have a shorter than usual meeting. I can't say it's typical, but you're welcome to sit in and see what all goes on here.
John, we have Katie
We have Katie
also.
also.
Thank
So
you.
Katie
Okay.
On too. She's muted if Katie wants to speak.
She's not muted from this end.
I know.
So you can ask if she has a comment.
Yeah, she may have just
Wants
logged
to-
on to make sure it was working.
Oh, that's Katie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. All
Okay.
right.
So first up, Charlie, bring a chair up.
You can sit
There's a chair here, Charlie.
right here, Charlie.
This is a continuation of the public hearing last week. Hi.
Morning.
Morning. How you guys doing?
I'm sorry.
Bill, are you gonna stay for the whole meeting?
I don't think he heard
I
you.
think he can hear you.
It's down.
Bill, are you gonna stay for the whole meeting?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, Charlie, if you want to pick up, we, as I recall, approved the windows a couple months ago, and
Right. Thank you for that. And we were just extending the conversation on the back of the house. Is where we were at. I think there was a question about like things like what kind of door, so I printed out an example of the door.
This would be the front door, because we know you have many doors, right?
The back door. This is all on the back of the
Okay.
house.
There's the east side.
And the surround that is pictured there with that.
Yeah.
Okay, some of the.
Yes.
Oh.
It's not just the door, it's the entire.
There's two more packets here, Deb.
Okay.
You didn't get them.
Great.
Yes, side, have side. Just the door itself, right?
Yeah,
so,
I don't think there's gonna be side lights.
You're
Okay.
drawing that, right?
and then Charlie, where would it go at this, where this door is?
We got this right here. So right now,
Oh, I see.
yeah,
That's what you see there, Tom.
It's not this
No, that's the shed.
It's-
There should be another view somewhere.
Oh, so it's that east
Here.
elevation, so it's that area that needed to be corrected because of the roof line,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
This one.
yeah.
Right, I don't have it.
So that roof line comes down to my neck, so it's a,
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
hazard, you
Yes,
know?
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
It's great.
Looks like it's sharp too.
I
Yeah,
remember seeing that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just, for the record, try to speak one person at a time.
sorry. So it would be cut it, so this would stay, the look of this would stay at least. And right now, in the picture, it's an open void and you walk into there, then you turn into a door and then you turn into an interior
Okay.
door. So the idea is to just continue this wall across and put a door right there
Okay.
and cutting this back, this overhang, or take it off. So you just have the actual roof.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was a question about this window. The new window would be, well, the window's 24 by 39.
Where is it on the,
Right here.
that one? Yes.
And this is a vinyl window right now that I
Uh-huh.
think Marty put in.
Okay.
Here.
Again,
Below the.
Below the-
yeah, right below the
Yeah.
arch.
Right.
Ones.
And then are you using?
And this would be
proposing,
replaced.
Marvin
Yes,
windows?
just to match all the same.
But not double hung, right? Is this a fixed window?
Yeah, that is a
Okay.
fixed window.
It's a fixed window. Uh-huh. And does it have all these panes?
This one?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it would be just like,
So it would match a little better than your current.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it'd match better than that. And also as well, it would be getting rid of these piers, the brick piers. And putting foundation across.
Oh, okay.
And you've got that marked as a 6-inch concrete foundation?
Yes,
8, it looks like.
oh, 8-inch, yeah, sorry.
And then this window. Okay.
It says 6 on here, so it should be 8.
8 on the plan.
8. Yeah, and there's a correction of this roof line, which is a flat crooked roof right now.
Mhm.
Mm.
And it would just be putting a slight pitch on it.
And the material would match the main house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Wood clapboard, is that the term?
Right.
And same architectural shingle.
So when you say you match the roof line across on this other area near the new door where the roof comes down, is it the main roof or is it the roof off that end unit that comes down?
You see this?
I know, it's kind of hard to,
Here, sorry.
There's
I
a
see.
roof that, this sticks out like 2.5 feet, but it's pretty flat. And it goes straight across and then it angles up.
But you said there was one part that was a hazard because it came.
Over
Oh,
the
yes.
shed, John, over the
Yeah.
shed.
Right here, this is our only entrance from our house, from like parking. And that comes down to here,
Okay,
actually.
so what are you doing to correct that? Just
Removing
it?
Yeah, just removing it.
and then there looks like there's a
Right.
pole
Yeah.
above it, right? There's a post below and then a pole.
Oh, that's the gutter.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
right now the gutter goes,
Downspout, yeah.
yeah, it goes onto that roof
Got
and then catches on, yeah. I don't know why it was done like that, but.
That's gonna clean that up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
it's the worst part of the house.
Mhm.
Everything else is like, doesn't need any
Yeah.
changing, I think it's just the afterthought of someone else's afterthought, There
Yes.
was never a kitchen, so
Right.
the idea of a kitchen was foreign at the time, and now they're like, well, we gotta put it somewhere, let's
So the
put it in the
second,
back.
floor is shakes and then it's clapboard, the lower level, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a change?
No, because shakes are here, but the lower level, it looks like you're gonna continue the clapboard.
Okay, so
That's what it is now.
I would make an adjustment to that. That's coming up now. That's the only thing I see being different than this plan is the shakes versus the clapboard. So
Which are the shakes?
This, see, how it's all.
yeah, it's kind of hard to
Individual
see.
pieces, they're
Does it
individual
Here.
pieces, and then this is the clapboard that is
Oh.
all one.
Okay.
Is anything vinyl or is it
Yeah.
all?
It's all wood.
It's all
yeah.
wood.
This
Okay.
wood shakes and this is wood clapboard here.
And so what do you want to do, Charlie?
Well, the
Can you see?
the architect's idea is to take this line, right? Can I turn you mic?
Yes, no.
Sorry.
Don't be-
To continue this line down here,
Okay.
because right now this cuts into there, and so it would be just take the shake down to here, and so that's all clapboard, and the line of shake is on one.
So the shakes will be only above the lower roof line, right? I didn't quite.
And above and below is my understanding.
Dividing it horizontal,
So you got
Vertically, yeah.
a, so
vertically.
you got a vertical dividing line.
Yeah.
Who's your
Because
con-
once you put this, sorry,
Who's your contractor?
it's, right now, we're looking at a couple of contractors
Okay.
still. I mean, we have one guy, Bill Lyons. And, we're not really sure.
Okay,
Yeah. It's gonna be a merger of work because there's foundation and then
yes,
there's,
yes.
we have the
okay.
lead abatement thing going
Yeah,
on,
you-
so they're
you have a
doing
lot
the
going.
windows, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're trying to time it together, there's the front of the house, the back of the house, and then there's a possibility for grant money for some of the
Okay.
work, so. Because once you get up
Okay.
there with the costs, you can get a grant that actually does
Right.
something.
Yeah, great.
Charlie, do you have shake on other parts of the house? On like the front?
The shakes on the front and all the sides, it's just clapboard on what you see on the, right here on the back and right here on the back, and then the peaks on the, where the covered porch is, the peaks above it are also clapboard. But, yeah,
So there's
that's
a
it.
mix on other parts of the house of shake
Yeah.
and clapboard, so there's a precedent for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this would just be, 18 inches over going to clapboard instead of there being cross, or going to shake, because instead of there being cross lines of texture, just to keep this upstairs, just to keep it one texture. Because
So-
this would be,
Is that pretty much what you're saying, that it looks like initially like the main house?
can I draw on that? Do you mind? So, the final idea would be to make this all shake. And which would mean this would be shake.
Okay,
So then all this whole line
yeah,
is
okay.
together,
okay,
Sorry for the quick drawing, but
okay.
to continue this line
Yeah.
straight through.
Is this the south end?
Yes. Yes.
So just out of interest.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea, the date of the shakes and the clapboard? I'm interested in when were they, can you tell at all which is older, or if they were put on at the same time when there's a mix?
This seems much newer. It's in really good condition. The front of the house, the shake is in really terrible condition, and it's rounded and gappy, and so that makes me think it's pretty old. So I'm assuming the clapboard's the original style of the house, but as it got added on to, maybe it was just easier to blend the extensions together with shake instead of.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So, but then that said, the additions over time are the newer part, so. But newer being 1800. It gets really confusing
Yes,
talking about
yes.
old and new with the house. Because
Right.
like, I mean, I look at how this is all made, this whole entryway, and it is old.
Yeah,
It looks like something slapped together in the
Sure.
80s, but it's like 1880s or something. It's,
So the house was renovated in 1860, right?
is that
When it
right?
was moved back from the street. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
moved back from the road and renovated when Evelyn was, had grand ideas about,
Mm,
yeah.
I'm glad she
and her
moved it
father-
back.
Yeah, yeah. And her father took, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, great.
Martha, do you have the approval we gave that, Charlie mentioned that the windows here were covered, including wood windows on the shed?
Yes.
That's, so
Yes.
we don't need to do anything with those today.
No, that was included it's in the April minutes.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Are there any comments, Bill, or people in the audience about this hearing?
We just wanted to introduce ourselves. We just bought 31 9th Street.
Great.
And so we're new.
We'll be glad. We should be finished here momentarily, and then we'll be glad to say hi officially. Any comments, any other comments from members of the committee? Commissioner?
I have none. Yeah, I have none. I think it's,
No, should we just move?
Yeah, so let me try to summarize that I would move that we approve the C of A for door siding and single shake work as shown on the attached plans, including an 8-inch concrete foundation. That's a correction from what's on the submitted form, including correcting the roof pitch, including removing the overhanging roof line that comes down near from the shed near the existing entryway, and approving a wooden door single light. Now, Charlie, I heard you say you probably would not be using these lanterns as lighting over the entrance, something you have in mind?
So this would just be a solid door, no light. It's just a black door in that picture, so.
but no exterior light.
No, but I mean,
electrical
these,
lighting.
I thought you said you would not have those.
Right, yeah, we would need lights. But we can work on that later.
Okay,
Is there
I
light
have
right?
no idea what,
Is there light there now?
there's no light there
Okay.
now. There's a motion light, you know.
Okay.
all right, so you can, yes.
How will you be treating the gutters?
The gutters will, but there's right now we would just, we replaced the gutters on the rest of the house. So we were just waiting on doing the gutters on the back until these corrections were made with the pitch and everything.
So will they follow the drip line of the roofs?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you asking approval for new gutters at this?
Do I
time
need,
also?
do I need to,
Anything related to the building? Yes.
oh, I thought replacement of gutters was,
If you're just replacing with the same thing, then
it's a like for like.
no, we need
Oh, okay.
a like for like form. But if you're,
Changing.
if there are no gutters currently, or you're
Right.
changing the style or
You're changing the
material,
downspout.
oh. Okay,
so you want to wait and evaluate that. I mean, if you're just replacing what's there, then
yeah.
we don't need to come in. I don't want to put
Are
you
you
on
gonna
this.
have white, the gutters are white now, right?
Yeah, gutters are white now,
Prefab, or are you gonna have them made on site,
made on site, yeah.
matching the existing?
Yeah, I mean, well, not matching the exact,
Exactly, but they're gonna be functional.
matching the rest of the gutters that are already
On the house.
on the house, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
why don't we include,
You should just include it.
include
Okay.
gutters to match existing gutters on the front, on the rest of the house.
the new ones blend in. It looks like the trim of it. It's kind of amazing. It
Yeah.
looks like someone put new trim on the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. Which
Okay.
is surprising.
So,
And
Thank you for that.
Did
I
you
would-
know
I
that
didn't
the
realize.
windows are matching? You made a comment about the door being a wood door, but did you make a comment in that about the windows? Did I hear that?
you're having these windows on the
No.
side.
No.
Yeah, no
The
windows.
replacement
The
windows.
replacement windows.
Oh, Martha said we approved those last,
Oh, those have
in
already,
April.
Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't need to be
specifically
on this.
included
Okay.
in that.
all right, great,
Yeah.
thank you.
So we got foundation, correcting the roof pitch, removing the overhanging roof, having a line of shake on the side that's vertical, which would mean replacing some wooden clapboards sort of north of the roughly halfway point, with shake and approval of gutters to match the rest of the house.
John, do you want to add the basement sash 28 by 20 in that
Where's the
8 inch.
basement sash?
count in the foundation?
Foundation, yeah.
Is that a window?
That's the
Yes.
window.
Did we approve a basement window?
Basement window was not mentioned.
You don't need the basement window, to be honest.
We're not gonna, we're asking if we should include it. You've just discussed it. It's gonna be. Right.
And there's one there now, right?
But do you want to leave that off or?
There's no basement window.
Just that lattice.
Yeah, because it's,
Okay.
it's on, pillars.
But there will be a basement window.
There can be, there doesn't need to be, there's.
Well,
Well,
let's,
code says you have to.
we're
have
trying to keep
so
you from
much-
coming back.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but the difficulty is if we approve a basement window and he doesn't put it in, then he has to come back to
Right. If it's
extend
code,
it.
I mean, I guess it's for code, I don't know about the code, so I'll just.
Well,
defer
why
to
don't-
You guys.
Why don't you defer that? You need to come back and fill us in if you're doing some lighting over the doors anyway,
Okay,
over the door.
well, I mean,
Is it on the drawing?
it's on the drive, I'd prefer to keep it in, I thought it was just
If
a
it's on the-
question of, we didn't talk about it, and I was like saying, it's fine with me, but
So if you're going to do it, we'll approve it now.
yeah, okay, because we can't do the foundation and then cut a hole in the.
Right.
Right.
Right,
Right.
So,
Okay, so
and it's aligned with the other windows
Yes.
too, which is nice, so,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, I would include that.
Thank you for,
okay, so what
I
are the
second.
what are the measurements of that, or give me some
28 by 20.
28 by 20 wooden lattice.
Operable or fixed?
They're operable typically.
They're supposed to
It's
be.
dangerous.
Yeah, typically they're operable.
At foundation line.
I guess it's in case your basement floods and you
Yeah,
need to air it out.
ventilation, yeah.
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 Okay,
I put mine up
Something down there.
sometimes.
Yeah,
okay. 8-inch foundation, correct the roof pitch, remove the overhanging roof, line of shake on the side of the house to be vertical with the line of shake above. Approval of gutters to match the rest of the house, 28 by 20, wooden lattice at the foundation line, all, and the new wooden door, all to be as shown in the submitted materials.
Any steps or rework is to the entrance to the door?
right here.
Yeah, it's like a sidewalk or stones going in or,
I was gonna apply for that later.
Could do that with,
Because-
do that with the door lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
because they're gonna make a mess of the ground and
Yeah.
everything, and
got it.
it's, the pathway from the barn to the house is this wide.
Right.
It's the only pathway we have. It drives me nuts.
You
I
need
can't shovel the snow because it hits every crooked
Yeah.
stone every
Yeah.
10 inches.
You need something wide enough for the Vermont cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
All right.
don't.
Okay.
that pathway's changing.
So,
I dream about changing it, but we're not there yet.
Did you mention the shingles in your?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
John, did you mention the basement window?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
My question is, the lattice work that you included in the,
Let's
where's
review.
I
that?
think that was being removed.
Right,
Removed.
right.
It's being removed.
That was being removed
That's
with the
what's removed.
foundation
So it's being replaced by the foundation, which you had
Yes.
earlier.
on this
Yes,
area.
okay, so 8-inch concrete foundation
Right.
replacing.
Existing
Right,
lattice.
and
The
the brick,
piers.
and the brick
on
piers.
that. Piers and
Because
laterals.
that's just, it's jetting out and
What do you
just
call
sitting
them,
on.
piers?
Yeah, the
That's
brick,
PIERS, yeah.
It's just,
the foundation.
the whole house has this foundation, and then that second story is, the corner of that second story is on top of those piers, and the
Okay,
This will be an upgrade to the support of the house.
Right.
gotcha.
I mean, guys, this is like
Okay.
the
Yeah.
smallest part of the house, and it's gonna be the most expensive
Right.
fix.
Yeah.
You know,
You're doing foundation work.
All right, Martha, you got that. 8-inch foundation, concrete, replacing the existing piers and lattice. Correct the roof pitch, so it's all on one line. Remove the overhanging roof from the shed near the existing entranceway. Approving a line of shake to be vertical with the shake on the upper levels of the house. Add gutters to match the existing gutters on the rest of the house. Include a 28 by 20 wooden lattice at the foundation line.
No, that's what you're taking out.
We're removing.
No,
Yes, the
oh,
window.
the window, I'm sorry,
Window,
yeah.
lattice window, 28 by 20.
It's a,
There's no lattice.
it's
to
not
it.
a lattice.
Oh.
It's a
This
basement.
window.
It's
Yeah.
listed as basement sash.
Basement sash. Oh, there you go.
Good thing I'm reading it back. And then a new wooden door, all as shown on images and architectural plans submitted with the C of A application.
Is that a motion, John?
That's a
Or-
motion, so it needs a second.
Go ahead if you, I'll second.
Further discussion?
So we will be discussing door lighting.
And pathway.
Yeah, landscape.
Landscaping, stonework.
Walkway.
thank you guys.
Yeah, no, please, Martha.
We
haven't voted yet.
That's right.
Hold on.
Almost. You're almost there.
Note, please, that just in our description, that the lighting and the walkway will be considered at a later date. Okay, so motion made, second,
I
all
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Charlie, thank you very
Thank
much.
you for your
Thank you.
Thank you.
great work.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
It's so helpful to have the plans and
Yeah.
pictures to go off.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
It's all it needs. I mean, it's gonna be a relief to make sure it's not sinking, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and,
Yeah, that would be great.
yeah, it'll last a long time.
Yeah.
Thank
Been there
you
a while,
guys.
so.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Another 100.
That's what I try to tell the insurance agency, you know, I'm like,
Oh, yeah, that's difficult.
been here
Really difficult.
a long time. I don't know, guys.
Not going anywhere.
I'd like to know how much money they've made off that house.
Yeah.
One house.
Yeah.
you know.
Over the years.
Do you want to keep that door, print?
It would be helpful.
Okay,
That
And
thank you guys so much.
And do we need a copy of the plans?
We have a copy.
We have one? Okay.
Yes. Yes, and Charlie, could you sign one of those printed things? I reprinted
Sure.
the C of A I just need you
Okay.
to sign it and then we'll write everything.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And
And then
thanks for helping me through the intricacies, saving the time. Right here? Thank you, sir.
Do you know about the historic home rehabilitation credit this days?
They leave just now. We
I think that's the one I'm looking into.
Usually 30%.
Yeah, is it 30%?
Percent, yeah.
Which is
Oh,
30.
I can email you. Your email's on here.
Yeah,
Just unofficially. I'll drop it
Okay.
in.
okay,
Yeah, 30%.
okay, so,
Moving on, Tony.
yeah, sorry.
Okay. See you again.
All right, have a good one. Thanks for
Good
your
luck.
time.
Yeah, good luck with it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Is there
bye-bye.
grants out there for
Thank
30%?
you.
So,
For what?
welcome,
Historic.
welcome new neighbors.
Thank you.
Roofs,
And tell me your names.
Victor Slazak.
foundation work, I mean, 30% of this cost. will-
Okay,
I've never stepped out and made a phone call. I'm gonna keep my distance. I'm not contagious, but I'm coming off something, so out of respect, I'm gonna stay away.
okay.
I had a couple of questions for you.
Tell us first which house you,
31
Hinckley's house.
Chadwick.
oh, the
Oh.
former Hinkley. house.
Oh, it's here.
Hello, Leslie.
Hi, Leslie. Welcome.
I think I wrote
Thank
you
you.
back about Daniel Chadwick. Carolyn Wakeman, I wrote to you. We emailed back.
Yes.
Yes,
So we bought the house, December 30th, and moved in full time, May 14th. I have a couple of questions for you, just to get on track with everything. We didn't really understand what we bought into until after the fact. We inherited some very nasty, surprises. One of them was an HVAC, issue that I don't think affects anything on the commission. We had to deal with that immediately. There was no heat on one whole side of the house. The next thing is, there was, the interior is beautiful in the house. And, we started to realize that the roof was failing. So we had to get a tarp on the ceiling, on the roof immediately. And I have a contractor ready to put a new roof on. And that probably is something that I need to deal with you folks.
well, it depends. We have two alternatives. If all you are doing is replacing a roof with the same material, it's the same in all respects. You simply need to fill out what we call a like for like form. And that's just for, we kind of have a record keeping function as well as an approval process. And that's on the website, or there are copies where up in the build,
I think they have some in land use.
in the
Yeah.
land use department upstairs. But if you're doing more than just a like for like replacement of what's there, then you need to come in for the sort of hearing that you just observed. And for a roof, it's he was doing some major construction changes, but it's pretty straightforward. But we do have it's really just a state statutory mandate that we have to have the approval processed.
So if you change material from like a wood to a asphalt, or if you're changing material, that would be a change of the roof type.
So,
And that requires the CBA.
the original coating at the top, which has been painted over throughout the years anyway, is copper. I have a contractor who says they want to go to steel. With the look of copper. And steel and copper cannot be used together, going through all these options, trying to figure out what I can do to preserve the look even though the look has been corrupted over the years, in that situation, what would I do?
Well, if you're using different material, you do need to come in, and it's pretty, again, it seems to me from the brief description that it should be, promises very, very straightforward, but it does matter. It does require filing what is our second type of form, which is a certificate of appropriateness form.
Gotcha.
And that's why Mr. James was in to have approval of his application before he proceeded with foundation work and new door and all the things you heard about.
I'm so glad I'm here today. I really am. But one of the
A lot of people don't say that. Oh, requirements. Oh.
We really love the house. You guys, which you have stated,
Right.
the interior is being affected by
Sure.
the roof and the water.
Leaking into all the walls.
Oh,
We had to stop it. And I'm sorry to say it's an issue of fraud. And that brings another question to me. I'm wondering if you folks have any kind of protections for people who buy into this community. Because we were not protected by the broker, the selling broker. We weren't protected. And it's absolute, I've already spoken to a lawyer, it's absolute fraud on the part of the sellers. There's no question of that. So we're dealing with that, number one, but even, that's not even number one. For us, number one is to save the house.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. So a lot of this had to happen very, very quickly once all the situations started to present themselves as soon as we moved in. And that's why I'm sort of asking for guidance.
Well, just say, we certainly can't provide any legal advice.
Right, right.
And I wouldn't even venture there. John, you could comment to that.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. The realtors are certainly aware that this is a historic district. Some of them may not choose to advertise the fact. All we do is out there in the public, and the requirements are out there. But we do not get into the intricacies of buyer seller negotiations, relations, statements, any of that. We deal with approval of the structures.
And in response to your specific question, whether we provide any kind of safety net or something like that, I do not believe that to be the case at all.
And one of
the only thing I would say is that certificates of appropriateness are a matter of public record. So I don't know that we can say more than that. If we have had situations in which someone who is about to sell a property needs to fix something up in order to sell it, and they don't have a certificate of application, and so the building permit won't let them go ahead and do what they need to do for selling the place. But if somebody doesn't apply for needed repairs, we have no way of knowing about the situation.
It's really interesting, and thank you for listening to all this. We've been dealing with this, it's a big thing to deal with. Because that was one of my questions, is that how did this house get the certificate of occupancy with a condemned furnace? And I found out about the condemned furnace after I bought the property. And now I have proof that it was condemned in 2023. And so we have proof that the seller knew that the furnace was condemned. How we learned about it was once we bought the house, there was a space heater in the bedroom and a space heater in the bathroom. And I was like, where did this come from? Why is this here? And my son and I happened to come up here in January. And a couple of things happened. That for some reason the propane company did not refill the tank fast enough. It was really cold January, which triggered the existing boiler to stop. And I spent 48 hours. I told my son to go back home, freezing, trying to save the house for 48 hours, which I did, which was amazing, but it was cold.
Well, anything about certificates of occupancy is, or that we don't do that. We don't deal with inside
Interior.
problems at all.
Exterior.
It's
Just exterior.
just exterior.
Gotcha.
So roof, yes, but inside boilers, no.
Yeah, so thank you for this.
So for example, an exterior mechanical piece would be in our jurisdiction, but not an interior piece. Yeah.
So the next thing is that the basement floods like crazy, so that will not be do.
No.
We're gonna be doing a whole,
If it's interior.
If you need to make exterior
Exterior
changes
changes.
to fix the problem, it would be.
But wasn't there a pipe coming off that property for years draining onto Lime Street? Carolyn,
I don't
I
remember.
recall seeing that.
I don't remember.
I don't see one, but interesting.
I
It was
just
like a
saw
sump pump.
something about,
It was like a sump pump, and it's been like for years, or I think we all drive by it and
Interesting. Well, that's gonna be fixed on July 9th. July 10th, that will be fixed completely. So we're figuring out the parameters of how we fit in and what we need to do.
yeah, for our procedure, if you do need a certificate, you can file a like for like form anytime. If you do need a certificate of appropriateness, just be aware we meet next month, first Monday of every month. We do not meet in August. So,
Gotcha.
you know, if you have something you'd like us to look at, either, you know, we shoot for 10 days before the first of the month to get something in, and then otherwise it would be waiting till September.
And if you're putting in a new HVAC system, and it's outside, you're gonna have to tell us what you're doing.
Gotcha.
Now,
That's in place.
another exception to the outside rule is if something is not visible from a public way, in your case, Lime Street, we don't have jurisdiction. So if you're
gotcha.
doing something right in the back of the house, nobody's gonna see it from the street.
like a back fence or something. then
Yeah.
it's-
But,
The
you know,
backwards might be visible from the street.
If it's visible
that's-
from Lime Street.
if any part of it's
House wouldn't be visible, perhaps wouldn't be.
Yeah,
Right.
if any part of it's visible, then yes.
No, we were probably in error, but we did get the house, the exterior painted light for light and the
Yes,
shutters.
exactly.
That's one thing we don't have
Color.
jurisdiction over.
Okay, good.
For some reason, our statute exempts paint colors.
Yeah.
Well, we just did light for light, so.
So just to reaffirm, if I were to say to these roofers, just add on new copper to the old copper, don't take the old copper off, which is an option that I've been talking to them about, then it's definitely like for like.
Yes.
If they want to rip off all the old copper, which actually breaks my heart, and replace it with steel with the same look, then I would have to.
Yes.
That's the C of A.
Second option, which is a little more,
It would be pretty straightforward though.
about to say,
Yeah.
okay. And then when can they start work?
Well, if it's like for like, they can start work as soon as we have a like for like form.
Okay, and that would be approved
That
next
could be
month?
today. No, we don't. What we do with the like for like is we just look at it basically. And if there are some questions, I mean, sometimes people slap down something and you look at it and you say, wait a second, that's not really like for like. You're talking about adding X. And they don't read carefully enough. But in which case we'd get back to you right away and say, wait a sec, are you sure this project doesn't look from your form to be exactly a like for like replacement? But if it is like for like, you just file the form and proceed. It's just a repair
Oh,
of.
great.
But the other way, the certificate of appropriateness, we have to submit 10 days before July, whatever this
Yes,
first Monday is, 10 days before, and then get it approved that July.
That's right.
yes.
Okay.
The
Gotcha.
July meeting. So if the roofing material is different, you would need the C of A.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and we can get that here.
You can get that online or in the land use office.
Upstairs, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this time.
So
Well-
you've had all those problems. That's not.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
I'm sorry about that, but you appear to be folks who care about historic structures, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming in.
One other comment is the state has sources of funding for the kind of work that you're doing on your house to help preserve it. There's historic funding available, and Julie knows about that.
Yeah, the historic home rehabilitation credit. So they fund things that they approve. I think it's 30% up to $100,000 worth of work. You give you a tax credit or reimbursement for on an annual basis. So assuming they approve the work and everything, it can be time consuming to do, but it could be worth your time. You file a like for like and we get your email. I can email you that link to that if you'd like.
It's if you remember the initials SHPO, just Google that, the State Historic Preservation Office, and they have a list of all sorts of resources.
Oh, great.
There's also a nonprofit called Connecticut Preservation. I don't think they have grants unless you're a nonprofit, but SHPO does. So
Oh, great.
It can be really
I
helpful.
really appreciate it.
Offset the cost. Yeah.
And then my last question for you was, since I'm meeting with so many contractors, I see the spectrum of what I'm being asked to pay. One of the estimates was $110,000 to paint my house.
To paint?
To paint my house.
Wow.
$110,000. So that was the high. They're asking 64,000 to put the new roof on. These are very, very high.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if there's a pool of resources that you folks, sort of like recommend contractors or restorers who are trustworthy. Do you do that?
I might be able to give you names of a few.
I appreciate it.
Not
don't
her
do it.
function
It's
as.
not as a,
Not,
it's not
your.
Not as a commission.
Yeah.
Personal.
So,
The commission does not.
yes.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I'm realizing that, now we are homeowners in this community. And we're elders, I never really hear that. Okay, I'm an elder. But I'm saying they need to be protected. And if there's anything that I can be a part of to do that, I would like to do that. I mean, the neighbors They're wonderful. Wonderful, welcome into the community. And I'm seeing how there needs to be some kind of protection here as well. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I know like, I see a need for it, and it's sort of what you're doing, as the commissioning to protect and preserve, So if there's anything I can do, please let me know.
Well, thank you.
That's great.
Thank you for coming in
Thank
today.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Well, so much for,
Mhm.
and we'll treat that as
That's important.
as a part of the public comment section.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can move expeditiously through the rest. Julie or Carolyn, thank you very much for
Yeah.
the work you did, and thanks also to Russ, who I think has finally pinned down final little, and David again for pinning down the final little remaining bit of the GPS surveys. We can get the GPS map
Great.
also on the
Yeah.
revised
I
webpage.
send the info to BabGeo this week. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't have very much to say. All I did in this, it's essentially what you saw before. I just added in the changes that were recommended in the meeting last time. So some of it is a change of wording and placing the link in a different location and that sort of thing. And then I added in bullets because it was kind of hodgepodge the last time. But if there's not much difference, but what I see is another big effort after we figure out the realtor signs and the sign policy to go through all at once, all the language, the whole thing, because I still think there are redundancies and I think there are sections that are too long. So I would try to condense and remove what's repetitive and just make sure the language and the styling and the format, Martha can help with the format, is consistent. And then Martha, I would send you a clean copy, but I'd be happy to sit down with you if anything is unclear about what to move where or whatever. Yeah, we could do that together.
I did
That's all.
notice
So I'm expeditious.
going through it. One thing to pay attention to is I think we need to be as consistent as possible about the language between forms and
Yes, absolutely.
website,
Mhm.
because the like for like form, for example, is much more particular than the language you have. It needs to be identical in the senses that you noted, but also location, for example, is one not mentioned. And the like for like form has in boldface, I think, identical in every respect. For example, form and style, size, height, illumination, location, material type, material color, apart from paint color,
The forms
lettering,
and the website.
images. So that's, if we can just kind of track that. Another issue to note briefly is you had at the end of your revision a question really about whether there was a like for like approval required.
I don't remember that. I'm sorry.
In the material where's the
Form must be approved.
Yeah, and then you had a question.
Is this accurate?
Which
Is
page?
accurate.
I'm sorry, Russ. Tell me
Page
where.
3.
Under like at the end of the like for like
Okay, great.
section.
Okay.
And we haven't had an approval process. It has been essentially, I think, what I described to the folks who were here. You file a form. Deanie and I would look at it, and Martha, and if anything jumps out, say, wait a sec, that can't be like for like, they're talking about whatever. Double doors instead of a single door.
Oh, I
We
see.
get
It's
back
a
to them.
separate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we had a question, and Martha, you can help fill in from I think the building commissioner who was asking it was a project that required a building permit. And it was in fact just a repair. They were replacing some structure.
Yeah.
But the building commissioner says, we need some notice that this is okay with you.
Right,
So I guess, I mean, my thought was we could have a form that simply says, that one of the co-chairs would sign that says, received no action, no HDC action necessary.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't want to get into the business of people saying, oh, it's a like for like repair, but now we got to get a formal approval and we got to wait for the approval.
I think that's great. So well, how, do you want to give me language for that, or is the language already okay?
I would stay away from the language of approval.
Okay, so I'll just remove that sentence.
Yeah, let me give you some other language, but in the course of this website revision, we should take a look at the forms, and I would suggest adding at the end some signature line from the commission saying received such and such a date, no action necessary.
That's great, but that doesn't have to go in this. I agree.
No.
Yeah, great.
I think the like for like is an incentive to do like for like.
Yes,
And that's what we
right.
want.
That's the main thing.
Right. So we want it as easy as possible.
Right.
Like these both, yeah.
Anything else, Julie?
No, I think you've covered it. You've done a great job shooting everything.
I mean, I appreciate this. The goal again is we more or less finished signage after a long haul. We finished the website revisions and make sure we're giving consistent instructions throughout. And then lighting.
Oh, next.
There are other issues to tackle, but this is great. If we can-
So is our goal that you'd like to have, I think the July meeting is too soon to have the absolute final text
Yes,
draft? Because we still have to, the signage, there's still a lot.
and there are
Just
FAQs
editing,
and,
but yeah. Okay, so we won't do it in July, maybe in September? Is that what you think?
Sure, I think that's more realistic.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Um. The Realtor form. Oh dear, let me introduce this briefly. This arose because we had a question from a Realtor about compliance of Realtor signs with the signage guidelines that we adopted. And this gets into because it's me, some of the nitty gritty about what exactly we have authority over. So, for signs fixed to the ground, including temporary signs, no structure within a historic district may be improved and installed until after application for a C of A has been approved. Structure includes signs. That's in the statute. So the Realtor signs, one might say, by a common sense of what it means to be affixed, or affixed to the ground. They're driven in typically in a stake. Can the HDC waive the need to obtain a C of A? Well, we have additional authority concerning advertising signs, which we may control. Doesn't say control through the HDC C of A process. The difficulty here is that, as I understood the advice of attorney that we received about 3 years ago now, this is an additional authority, which would give us authority over advertising signs, advertising being broadly defined to include providing ideas, but certainly a realtor sign, I think, would be called an advertising sign. Gives us an additional authority for signs that are not affixed to the ground. We would have authority over A-frame signs. We would have authority over signs that are suspended on a line. So, well, how does this meet real life? I don't, can we just waive a C of A and provide design standards, which are an option that some people had thought of, but Russ really filled out in a communication.
Can I modify that, number 3?
You can do whatever you
But
want.
based on what
It's
I'm reading
yours.
here, could it be that we still require a C of A? But it's a one-time C of A for the realtor where we specify we approve the design, and then we also approve a standard location for the sign. So in other words, we're gonna do exactly what we're saying in item 3, but actually make it a one-time C of A for that particular realtor.
Yeah, I mean, this relates.
So we're not gonna waive the C of
It's a
A.
great idea.
This
I think
relates-
That's what we should do.
This relates to the notion of approval in advance of nonprofit signs, which we don't yet have applications for, but that's. But here's my only nagging concern, because it does make sense not to have realtors coming in or each
For
homeowner
each
coming in.
house.
But our current guidelines say who's responsible for structures on a property? Well, it's the property owner. You know, that's who right now has to submit a C of A. If Grable
Right.
wants if one of his shop owners in his little line of shops wants to do something exterior, they can't apply. It's the property owner. So,
They
I
can't.
guess who's going to call us on it, but given my background, I'd say I want to adhere as closely as possible to the statute.
Let me ask you a question. Go ahead.
Is there any standardization in the realtor signs so that if you stay within that general framework and say that they can't exceed
Well,
that?
this gets up to a zoning issue, which is here violated by many signs of longstanding. Zoning regs say a sign in a residential district, which the HDC is, cannot exceed 2 square feet.
They're all bigger than that.
Yeah. So what do we do?
Well, John, getting back to your point about the legal authorization being owner, a realtor is a representative, a contracted, there's a contract representative of the owner. It's not like it's a tenant. And so an approval for a realtor that then is contractually doing business and representing the owner.
Later contracting.
Does that suffice?
Yes, I think that's great.
Mhm.
Because then you can say in the original, we talk about signs that a property owner or their contracted agent
Right.
place it there.
Contracted
That's
realtor.
awesome.
Because John, is the goal to control wire signs? Like, that's all I see when I look at something like this. I think it's a bit of an overreach to control realtor signs at this point. And I would think that this would just, for me personally, it would be putting responsibility on the homeowner for the sign that's on your property, whether it's realtor, the guy painting, the HVAC guy, the driveway guy. Just the responsibility needs to be, this is my opinion, on the homeowner. And let them know that this sign is your responsibility. And if it's not, it's going to be picked up if it's there. And that goes back to our over 30 days temporary sign. But I think it's a bit of overreach to try and contour, because I think all these realtors have to buy their own signs. I don't think that we could say, oh, it's got to be 2 by 2 all of a sudden. That's just what I think.
Well, I'm trying to imagine what Eric Knapp would say. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he deals on a complaint basis. And, to the best of my knowledge, if a realtor sign looks nice, the fact that it's, what size are they? 2.5 or square feet
Right.
rather than 2 is not going to raise eyebrows. I do, if we approve signs for, let's say, nonprofits, they typically replace existing signs. So in a sense, they're arguably grandfathered in, and you can't expect the museum to have a little square foot
Right.
font sign or Audubon. These signs have never been approved. So
I think the goal is also providing a simplified process for realtors and contractors where they kind of know, as long as they have this kind of sign and put it in this location, it's fine.
Good to go.
It's
Yeah.
a one-time thing. So not every realtor sign or every contractor sign that gets put up in the district has to come before us. And I think that's the problem with the approach of the owner having to address every sign that gets put out. It's just trying to find a simpler pathway. Maybe.
yeah, and the other issue with owners are they want to sell the house, and
Right.
it's the end of June, and they put it on the market, and the first time they could come in to get a sign put out is September. I think it's unrealistic to expect homeowners to come in to get approval.
Right.
So I would be inclined to say, try to create this process for realtors. Now, again, if there were an argument that we could operate solely under the advertising sign basis, you wouldn't even have to necessarily have a C of A hearing. You could just develop guidelines and get realtors to acknowledge that they're abiding by those guidelines. But I don't see statutorily how we can do that.
Do we know,
No legal advice here, but just, every sign affixed to the ground is a structure that needs a C of A.
what do other towns do, other historic districts?
Other historic districts largely ignore the issue. They,
Can we ignore it?
because, well, we can do anything we want until we're called on the carpet, I guess.
By whom?
By whom, it becomes the next question.
Well, when you have
We're
some
overreaching.
gigantic realtor signs, and we've had a few,
Yeah,
but it's not that frequent. Signs that are 7 by 8.
really?
Complaint requires
Yeah.
brokers to have a small sign that's all very standard. It's
Yes,
probably 2 feet off the ground
yes.
with just call broker and a phone number. There's no
Yes.
name, there's no pictures, there's nothing, and it's
Yeah,
all
the other-
very uniform.
The other issue is
Right.
images on the sign that we,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, again, it can be a quick meeting, have a realtor stop in and get approval in advance, and we would need to develop the guidelines. I think it would be a good idea after they're approved to include as part of the secretary's report, a list of entities that have this approval. that have agreed to the
Like
limitations.
each real estate agent or the agency, like the broker,
Agency.
each agent.
I mean,
Each-
like Sotheby's is one and
As opposed.
Each agency.
Agency.
So the
Yeah,
agency.
Agency.
Right. Every
no.
agent. gets-
And what about the ones that sometimes hang down little plaques with the name of the
Right, they do that
specific
now.
agent?
The big broad one that they have is usually the agency number. And
Yes,
then they put their name and their mobile number.
yes. And they hang down.
Doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother
No,
me.
it doesn't bother me either.
No.
Okay.
We don't want to
good.
curtail their business. We want them to be able to
Absolutely.
conduct their business, right?
Yes.
So it's,
I
Great.
mean, so is this the consensus that I will draft up something and hopefully we sign off on it in July is the process and then send letters out to realtors.
well, it says and contractor sign. So I guess the question
Well,
is it just realtors we want to deal with at this point? Or
I think for contractors, that's a big
So hard.
overreach too.
that's a
Some
tough,
of these guys, like,
Yeah.
roofers or whatever, they're just trying to work.
Yeah.
I think it's a little much to
and they're
ask.
not up as long as a realtor
Right.
sign. Like a realtor
Usually-
sign could be up for several
Usually,
months.
Right.
usually.
Usually, and then again, I think it's where it's the onus is on the property owner. Why would they want this sign there for 6 months?
Could we put a regulation to say contractor signs can be up during the construction and maybe like
Yes.
a week after? So that we limit the time of that? Is that possible, John, or no?
We can do anything we want. Again,
Understand.
you have types of signs that
Yeah.
look, we all drive up and down the street. It looks junky at times. There's a big estate auction down at our end of the street, the big bright purple signs out on town land, on the town park,
Yeah.
in front of the old Lime Inn.
But those are temporary. They'll be down. It's only a 3-day sale. I don't think
know.
that, yeah, that's
But-
not a big deal.
See, contractor usually, well, sometimes you can have year-long construction projects.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's covered by the time that they're doing the work,
Yes, it
right?
is.
As long as they're doing the work.
Right.
Realtor signs can be lengthy because length of time on the market. But I think what you don't want to have happen is a contractor sign, they're done, and then 3 months later, the sign's still there.
Right.
So it seems to me it's while work is being done and then some period after.
I mean, we can certainly tell when work's being done on exterior features.
Right.
Maybe the thing is, if we notice, the thing to do is if we notice that a sign has remained up for any sort of period after work is done, contact the property owner.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, they're coming in for a C of A for any exterior work. Can we fold in the sign
Yes,
as part of the C of A discussion?
right. Just for example, for One
Right.
Main Street.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That
Very
let
good.
you know, he can have his sign up there, but it's your responsibility to
It's a
take.
great
down
idea,
the
Russ.
property when the
Yeah.
work is done.
And do we want to say, and it can't be a wire sign?
It would be
I
nice.
don't think so.
We can say it.
We can say it, but
Well, no, I think we do. Is whatever we think, but tie it to the C of A
sure.
application.
Yeah.
It's not going to cover the interior projects, but a lot of the projects are
Right.
exterior.
Okay,
That's half the battle. So
all right. I have the consensus we've agreed on. And I'll write something up for July and hopefully,
John, do you want me to ask there's one realtor that pretty much runs all of the sales at Groton Long Point. Do you want me to ask her about her little sign and how that is received by brokers that are out of the area?
sure, if you have a picture of one or get her to
Yes.
send you one, I'd love to see it.
Okay,
Okay. Great. Next item, co-chairs report. Jeannie didn't have anything. The only thing I would mention that's new, and then there are a couple of things we discussed at previous meetings that I'll just tick off the status of at the end, is, I understand that the Board of Selectmen has approved a grant application or compiled and submitted a grant application for a Halls Road sidewalk. And I haven't seen it yet, and but I know it's in the works. And they know that we get to approve sidewalks in the historic district, and they know that our governing statute says we can make recommendations concerning outside. So I will keep in touch with my source, and I think maybe just stop in and chat with Martha.
Yeah, either chat or have Martha Hanson send a note saying we understand and please be sure you get approval from the HCC.
Maybe I have something else I'd like to chat with her about, so
Okay,
maybe
sure.
the easiest just to proceed informally.
Great. And just on a related thing, in a conversation with people at the museum, they were talking about how wonderful it would be in the future if the Halls Road sidewalk, which if it were to happen, could perhaps make a curve at the Lime Art Association and then continue up as far as, maybe not as far as your house, but at least as far as Roger Tory Peterson. And how would that process be undertaken? So perhaps you could, when you speak to Martha, say that there is a request or a recommendation.
No,
and
I've heard that from more than one.
yeah, is
person.
that something, but
Well,
just
it's
to
a state
find out
road
how
at
that
point.
could,
Yeah.
how that could happen
It's the
would be
same-
great.
Go on
It's
property.
the same state
private
road.
property.
It has
Yeah, it's the same state road.
Same state
Right.
road.
Unless the setbacks from the state
Right.
Or different.
overlap the private property.
That's
It
a
would
good
just be a
point.
gracious, look to the,
Yeah.
It would help with the witness stones and all the others.
Safety.
yes, it would be nice.
Safety too, yeah.
Okay, great.
I think there might be objection proceeding beyond
Mhm.
Audubon.
Yeah, sure.
He's that far. Okay,
And I have, Deanie's, because she texted me earlier, Lime Academy is starting their roof project and hopes to be done with it by the end of July. That's per Michael Duffy.
and that's a like for like, as I recall. Yes, Martha?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad she got in touch with you. I hadn't been aware of that. Secretary's report.
We are monitoring 17 situations in the historic district involving active C of As or other matters. The 1 Lime Street renovation, which we discussed today, 6 Lime Street, the fence, which I still don't have any extra information on.
Have you spoken with her?
I've sent her emails and I mailed her a letter,
Okay.
but I haven't heard anything back.
And how-
Originally, when they took the fence down, it was to be reconstructed as like for like.
Right.
But there's no time frame on that.
How long ago did you send a letter?
2 months ago.
I would think it would be appropriate to send a follow-up,
Send a
maybe
follow-up.
try to call, just say, just, can you please update us on the status of this?
Yeah, because
this process?
we know it's going to be like for like. They're not going to remove the whole fence and put something different in. It's just that corner, the part in front, I think looks pretty sturdy and it's fine. It was the part on the curve that was rotted and they had to take it down.
Sure.
So really, we just need to know the time frame of that.
Right.
Because it will be like for like, so I will follow up on that. Then we have a variety of like for like forms and Cindy Taylor submitted a new like for like form to replace some doors on the sunroom. That's on the north side of the house. And she has found identical doors. The doors that are there are rotted and she's found some identical ones to put on.
The wooden doors?
Yes.
And what does she say about the fence issue?
The fence, she said the fence is like for like, and she gave the measurements to the fence.
The gate is
But the
missing.
gate isn't
The
like,
gate, she's not putting a
so
gate
it's a
on.
not a like for like replacement. She's
Um,
replacing a fence with a gate by a fence without a gate.
Right. So she needs to submit a C of A saying that she's not putting in a gate.
Correct.
Right.
Which is an
If we-
issue worth discussing. I mean,
If we approve that,
if
we
we
might say
approve it.
she needs,
But she needs, the first step is she needs to come in and
Yes.
submit that.
Yes.
And I would emphasize that to her.
Yes, I asked her to submit a C of A, but she hasn't done that yet.
It'd be great if, if you could nudge her to get it for
Yeah.
July since we're out in August.
Yes. What else have we got? 31 Lime Street, they came in to talk about that. I'm glad to know that they're not removing the shutters completely. They're just repainting and putting them back on. 38 Lime Street, the renovations continue. We got a like for like form from Spears Plumbing at 48-1 Lime Street for a roof replacement, like for like. Same shingle, same color, it's just a new roof.
Okay.
The 49 Lime Street Center School front door, we dealt with that. That's still under construction. 59 Lime Street, the LYSB renovations. They're still working on that. That C of A expires in October, but I expect they'll be done by then. I heard from Monty about those storefront windows at 64 and 68 Lime Street. I sent him a packet of information on like for like C of A's. He said the contractor that he's using is still saying it's going to be like for like, just like we discussed. I asked them to fill out the like for like form and send it back to us. He doesn't expect anything will happen there before September.
Okay.
They're putting that off until the fall because they're very busy. 74 Lime Street. That new house has been started. And now they are talking about putting the heat pump. Remember we said that all the mechanicals should be in the back?
Yes.
Now they are thinking about putting the heat pump on the northeast corner of the house. If they do that, they would need to come in for approval and it would need to be screened.
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible.
And they can't put it, lurking, not right in front of the house.
No, it's,
Northeast corner.
so if you look at the house like this, it's right there.
so that's pretty close to the front of the house.
Is
So
it-
we might want it to be further back, the same way we insisted on an earlier project.
Right.
Yeah, several
Not
earlier
aligned with
projects.
the facade. The front facade.
Right. And also pay the still house roof replacement is like for like. The Florence Griswold Museum fence. We've been discussing that. The 97 Lime Street.
And I'm sorry, let me interrupt there.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea when Peter will be back? The museum fence?
No, I can follow up with him on that.
Because as I recall, we requested a drawing or sketch.
He said he was going to get the architect to do a drawing,
Right.
but I don't know that he's done that, but he said he was going to.
He might remind him too that we don't have a meeting in August, so.
I'll remind him of that. Yeah.
He did say originally, but that, he did say he would do the change, make the change in the spring. But I know they've been super busy with the house, which looks great, by the way.
It does look great.
It looks
Yeah,
beautiful.
the house looks great. Yeah.
And then the Halls Road sidewalk proposal, which you mentioned. I guess we're just waiting to hear if they will, what they're gonna do for that, if they get the grant approved, whatever. And then we have two other like for likes. 105 for fence repairs and 110 for driveway gravel.
And you'll get one from me for fence,
Okay.
probably September,
Just need it
October.
to stop raining so I can work on
Yeah,
fence.
exactly.
Okay, so I'm working on the annual CLG report, that certificate, that's the local government
Right.
thing. That's where we annually send a report to SHPO, basically saying what we've done, how many C of As we've issued, how many we approved, denied, whatever, anything new that's happening in the district. It's a pretty simple report. And it's really nice to see just what we've done. And it goes by the federal fiscal year, which is different from the town's fiscal year. So I'm almost finished with that.
Great.
And the membership renewals, I just have some things to sign. And then I'll give that to.
Okay.
And the plaque program is still the same. I don't have any updates on that.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Tracy Navarro stopped me on my walk and asked about that and said she'd accept the later date.
Oh, good. I'll get in
Should
touch
move
with her.
that forward, Martha, because she's been waiting a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I know we settled on that later date and she was like, and then she had somebody come in and look at.
Skip Broom came in. I think.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, he thought parts of it were older and things. And that was the last that I heard, but I'll get back in touch with her about that. That would be nice.
Right, we can wrap that one up.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have, I mean, the remnants of the prior house do not warrant an earlier date on the existing house. Is that correct? So the
Right.
so-called Higgins Lay house
Mhm.
that was there earlier, do we refer back to the date of that house if we could find it? Or do we only date it to the Bugby era? Because that's the existing house.
That's really like an opinion that we would have to, I think, decide. Do we, if there's like a chimney or a corner of a house that dates, from the 1700s or something, do we, how do we acknowledge that plaque?
I think she mentioned that the Skip Broom told her the glass in her windows
Was old.
was very old.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, my personal feeling is whatever the majority of the house is, should be what's on the front because, it doesn't look anything like a 1700s house.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. And we do have, there is a historic photograph of the Higgins Lay house. It's pretty indistinct because it's an old photograph, but it's reproduced several places. So we have some idea what it looked like, but not exactly. Is the foundation the same? We have no idea.
Right.
Did they cobble together some parts of that? And at the time they did, do those parts still continue? So maybe we just go with the Bugby era, which is what the house really looks like today.
Yeah. And it's consistent with the store next door, which is in the same era. So, okay. I'll get in touch with her. And we're still puzzling over the 23 Ferry Road, the soap factory house.
Yeah. I told you I'd get you that 1832 Warner etching that I think has the soap factory building in it.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'll get that to you.
That would be great. Thank you. And that's all I have.
Martha, thank you as always. I am struck again, as I am often, by how indispensable your contributions are.
But how hard you work, and how much time you put into this. It's really greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
So new and ongoing business, the POCD is something Deanie has been shepherding, and she and I will talk about that. I did mention last meeting, getting in touch with the Amtrak and the other CCs about their lack of response or follow through to date on their April of 2024 letter. And I've identified things I can ask them about, nudge them about. In a conversation with Deanie, I think I want to wait to draft something until Greg Stroud gets back from vacation, and I could check with him about the political sensitivities. I'm particularly concerned that Greg mentioned this when he was here at the last meeting about the meeting that Amtrak held in Rhode Island with, was it Compton? Who was the town there? Charleston. Rhode Island. I knew it was a C. But anyway, that's still on the agenda. We've in the past tracked state bills that might be of interest. I haven't done that this year, but I noted that a major housing related bill passed the state general assembly and is probably up for a vote in the Senate this week. And the main part of it, as I understand, it wouldn't directly affect us because it concerns housing in areas that are zoned commercial and allows an easier transfer of commercial uses to housing uses. But I gather it's a big omnibus bill, and I'm a little worried about what might be tucked inside that. So if anybody hears more about that, let me know. Share with the commission. And the last thing under ongoing business was in enforcement and compliance. We've in a sense with the realtors talked about this approvals in advance. I think perhaps a notice, another letter to the not-for-profits would be in order, reminding them of this option. Old Lime Inn sign, I noticed was still on the fence.
Yeah, I invited them to this meeting. They did take the wire signs down.
I noticed
And
that.
I know they were thinking about the sign near the road as being kind of the new sign, but I guess they weren't ready to present or meet with us at this point. So,
well, they should take the fence sign down in the interim.
I don't disagree with that.
I know we'll never have perfect compliance, but some of these things are correctable, I think.
And I noticed Congo Church has a flag
Or is the church, yeah,
in front of
their
their
sign.
sign, but I'm assuming it's because they're painting. Because that was one of the flags that they had on the building.
They took it, yeah, they moved it to the sign. Probably a temporary thing.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
And it's time to adjourn. It's not as good as we hoped, but it's not bad. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. And Deb seconds. Carolyn moves, Deb seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
All right.